participation in this meeting. We'll start, just waiting for the next slide. Will be connected to the metaverse and the features that you currently have here with us. So the first thing that you can update your avatar here and try different movements, claps, dance, jumps. So you can actually freestyle here and use different features of the metaverse. Also, in the left corner of your screen, you will see a small version of the presentation. So if you will click there, you will have a full screen presentation. So it will be better quality and I think more convenient for everyone. Also, please unmute yourself only when you will be speaking. So if you are not a speaker or you are not asking any questions, please mute yourself in order not to disturb our speakers. So let's respect each other and let's give likes to the space. So feel free to give a like in the right corner of to the space. Try different reactions. So that's the opening, the time to have some fun. Moving forward, we will have 4 speakers today. The first one is Viacheslav, who is our investment analyst. So he will tell more about the StarkNet. We'll do an introduction and we'll also provide some updates regarding the products of StarkWare Industries. I will be the second speaker, and my name is Ivan. I'm a general partner at 3X Capital. I'm responsible for our research department. And together with senior investment analyst Petro Yanytskyi, who will be also a speaker today, we are developing startups, not only investing in them. So we will launch our new acceleration program in 1 week. If you have a Web3 startup, reach out to us and we would be interested to invite you to the program. I will be speaking more about the team, the fundraising and tokenomics, and Petro will provide more information today regarding the plans of StarkNet for the future, as well as I'm very happy to announce that Gonzalo, a marketing lead from AI Network, will also present some insights on the roadmap of the StarkNet technology. So I'm very looking forward to hear everyone today, and the first part, as I mentioned, will be presented by Viacheslav, our investment analyst. Slava, the stage is yours. I will help you with the presentation. So let me know if you need to change the slide or something else. Hope you hear me well.
Yeah, Slava, for please. Sure. I hope everyone hears me well. So yeah, we'll start with introduction into StarkWare industry and a brief explanation about it. So StarkNet was developed by StarkWare Industries, yes, an Israeli-based blockchain firm, in order to scale Ethereum. And StarkNet as a product was launched in February 22. However, StarkWare Industries had products before, and they were developing in the space and in the niche much earlier. So they have the product called StarkX, which was launched in June 2022. And this platform was a tailored network to create a specific dApp. So it was, and it still exists, and it brings revenue to the company. So it's already a product they have, and StarkNet right now is on the testnet. Went from kind of they're on the testnet mainly. They have also launched a mainnet and had an update this summer called Cairo. But let's dive deeper into their technical solution and how the StarkNet works. StarkNet utilizes one of the ways to prove transaction in crypto. It's ZK knowledge proof. Right now, projects are utilizing this technology in order to create new solutions to scale. So basically, what zero knowledge proof does, it allows parties to verify information without revealing any information about the transaction, etc. And StarkNet uses one of the ways to proceed with zero knowledge proofs, and it's called Stark proofs and Snark proofs. Stark proof and Snark proof, and Stark proof are used by StarkNet. That's the name of company. So there is a short table mainly to show advantages and disadvantages of Starks and Snarks, but let's go through them really quickly. So Snarks, why do they call that? So Snarks are called that way because they have what they use. It's seeking a non-iterative argument of knowledge. So what does it mean? They use really short transfers of data in order to basically prove something. However, they have one reasonable disadvantage is the trusted setup. So basically, parties need to have some setup which they will trust in order to work with snarks. Also, they have kind of larger proof sizes. However, they still are not big. However, compared to Starks have much lower proof size, and they do need lower computational power in order to prove it. Also, with proof generation, yes, I mentioned before, in order due to the sizes of proofs, Snarks requires much more significant computational power. However, due to the nature of StarkNet builds their own blockchain, and they're not really interoperable with other systems. That's one of the disadvantages of StarkNet currently, and they are working towards being interoperable. Also, there is more mathematical models about cryptographic assumptions, and I won't get deeper on it. And yeah, and about this StarkNet. So basically, what does it mean? It's the large how proof is big, and as I mentioned before, Stark proof are smaller than Snark proofs, and it means a lot for computation when it comes to calculations and the power which is required. And as we know, blockchains move more towards being less power consuming and more efficient. Basically, this is what the StarkNet tries to achieve. Also, StarkNet is working towards layer 2 scalability, and layer 2 scalability is crucial for StarkNet in order to be competitive with other blockchains and projects in the sphere. So what they're trying to do, they have developed a so-called StarkNet sequencer, which helps them to also even maybe could you turn on the next slide? Yeah, so they try to achieve scalability by floating more complex computation to off-chain. That's what their StarkNet sequencer does. They also have created their own StarkNet prover in order to basically prove transaction and work with Stark proofs. What the prover does, it establishes the mathematical validity of the block and generates a Stark proof. That's how basically it works for the StarkNet. Yeah, that's a brief explanation about StarkNet technology, how it works, and yeah, how it scales. Yeah, I think we can go to the next point, which will be delivered by Ivan, our general partner. Yeah.
Perfect. What excites you the most about StarkNet and their technology? So I'm curious to know more.
For sure, I think the main thing that I think the most promising that what they're trying to utilize is Stark proofs, because they are the only one basically who is doing this in such scale. And yeah, it's also put several challenges for team to solve. I think the biggest one is being interoperable with other blockchains, because if we'll compare it to some other projects, for instance, we have some other scaling solution for Ethereum. They offer more better solution in terms of interoperability because they build directly on top of Ethereum. StarkNet trying to be like more independent in this way. However, it's also not the greatest about it. However, yeah, utilizing the Stark's proof may prove effective in order to achieve higher security of the blockchain and being at the same time zero knowledge proven. So that's, I think, a point here.
Do we have any questions from the audience, or we are good to start with the team and the funding history? Perfect. Let's move forward. Thank you, Slava, for preparing your presentation. As I mentioned, my name is Ivan Maltsev, and today I will speak more about the fundraising done by StarkWare Industries, about their team, about their tokenomics, some insights that we have found during our due diligence process with Petro. First of all, I'm highly impressed with experienced team of scientists who co-founded StarkWare Industries in 2018. The first founder, Ali Ben Sansar, is one of the also founding members of Zcash company. Probably everyone heard about the Zcash token. So he also created the Stark technology, zero cash protocol, and Fry protocol as well. He is a scientist. He held several positions in Harvard, MIT, Princeton, and the last position that he had before he started Industries was position in Technion, where he was also building cryptographic technologies together with other team members. So he has a PhD. He worked, I think, for more than 2 decades as a scientist, as a cryptographer. So he's very, very experienced and talented scientist, in my opinion. The second one is Yuri Kolodny. He's a co-founder more as a serial entrepreneur. So he co-founded several tech startups. Among them is Omni Guide and Mondria. Previously, he also worked in Israeli VC firms as an analyst in McKinsey. So he's actually leading the business side of the company. And right now, I was impressed that around 150 employees. They are based in Israel, the majority of the team, but they have an international presence as well. Regarding their funding rounds, I also was really impressed with the intensity of 2018 and 2021 during their fundraising campaigns. So the first round that they closed was in May 2018. It was the seed round where they raised $6 million, and the round was led by Pantera Capital and other famous investors like Polychain Capital, angel investors like Vitaly Buterin, Elad Gil, Israeli investor, Naval Ravikant, very famous Web3 investor. I do not know the valuation of this seed round. There is no public information, but I assume it was up to $200 million. And the next round was actually a grant from the Ethereum Foundation that the company received in July 2018. So it was $12 million grant. And I think maybe Vitalik Buterin has supported the team to receive this funding from Ethereum Foundation to build this scaling solution for Ethereum. The next round was the same year in 2018 in October. Just imagine 4 months between seed round and Series A round, where they raised $30 million, and the round was led by Paradigm and Sequoia. We also do not know the valuation, but I remember that Series B was with $2 billion valuation, and they raised 75 million in March 2021. The round was led by Paradigm, and there were other investors who can, of course, influence on different ways the company. We have investors like Three Arrows Capital, Alameda Research. Unfortunately, these funds are closed right now, and probably the investments are also frozen. We also know that Alameda Research invested around $12 million in this round, and of course we know about $10 billion that were actually used by Alameda Research in assets of their customers of FTX exchange. So there is a big mess with these investors, Three Arrows Capital, Alameda Research, but still we have very notable investors who were participating in previous rounds.
Yeah, I also heard it even has problems with connection.
And the round was led by Green Oaks Capital. Do you hear me well, Petro?
Right now, yes. Right now we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. Moving forward, we presented a very interesting fundraising story. Right now, they can show that they have the most influential investors in the whole industry, including Paradigm, Sequoia Capital, Pantera Capital, Polychain Capital, even Consensus Ventures, Multicoin Capital, Coinbase Ventures, Tiger Global participated with other investors, including angel investors. As I mentioned, Naval Ravikant and Vitalik Buterin also invested quite early in StarkWare Industries. Regarding the tokenomics, I just wanted to highlight the main utilities of the token that StarkNet planned to create in order to incentivize and decentralize the network. The StarkNet token will be called STRK, and it will have a limited supply of 10 billion STRK tokens that are already minted on Ethereum layer 1 and distributed between participants of the previous rounds. So the token will be used for, first of all, governance. So holders will be able to participate in different activities such as voting on different upgrades, improvements, and some public goods funding. Also, the second utility will be payments. in terms of their transaction fees. So if you will own this STRK token, you will be able to pay your fees on the network. And I assume the fees will be quite low. And the last one is actually staking. I called it participation in StarkNet's consensus mechanism, but token holders will be able to stake their token and provide more security to the network and receive some yield for supporting the network. Speaking about their tokenomics, I would like to mention that they are offering around 51% in total for their community through the grants, through their foundation, through the donations, through the community provisions and rebates. I also know that they have among this 51% that they claim to provide to their community, they will have 8.1% unallocated. So we still do not understand how they will use 8.1% of their tokens. And we know that StarkWare investors who participated in previous rounds, they will have 17% of the supply. So I think it's a normal situation when investors are not controlling the token. Instead, we have the team and core contributors who will have around 33% of all supply of the token. Also, we know that the token generation event and actually the launch of the token was rescheduled recently, and we expect to see the token launch in the April next year. So we are looking forward to see how this ecosystem will grow and scale, and I'm very happy to provide the stage to Petro Yanytskyi, our senior investment analyst, who will speak more about the ecosystem of StarkNet and provide you more insights on their metrics. Petro, please, the stage is yours.
Sure. Thank you, Ivan. I will double check if you guys hear me and I can start. Just clap or tell me that you can hear me. Awesome. Yeah, thank you. So a little intro why I decided to talk about StarkNet ecosystem overview and look into their stats is more about that I'm myself more a crypto native guy who enjoy to interact with different protocols and analyze them. So I do have a few favorite decentralized applications on StarkNet, and I do enjoy testing the network and enjoy to tell you more about it today. So we will take a look through ecosystem, state of the ecosystem, look into several decentralized applications from different directions, different activities. Then I will tell you more about total value locked on the network and the difference between total value breached. And in the end, we will take a look at metrics of users' activity. So let's start with depth overview. So what we know right now from the website of StarkNet Ecosystem that there are more than 100 decentralized applications live on the network, on the mainnet, and they are divided into different sectors. And for someone who wants to start using StarkNet, these sectors are quite crucial. You need to start from setting up a wallet, because the huge difference that we already mentioned today is that StarkNet is not EVM compatible. So you can not use your EVM wallets like MetaMask or any other wallets that you are using to set up an account on StarkNet. There are developments that will help you to do it in the future, but right now you need to pick from one of two main wallets of the ecosystem. The first one is called ArgentX, and it is actually built with the technology of account abstraction. So in the future, with this wallet, you will be able to get a lot of new features like logging in through the email, requesting a password to your wallet without having access to a private key, and storing all your private keys somewhere like you're doing with your hot wallet right now. And they have another wallet called Bravos, which is also very useful in terms of user engagement. In my opinion, Argent X is more technical and convenient for me to use, but Bravos is more engaging, and they are working more into bringing new people and show them how StarkNet is built and how they can interact with different applications. But what you need to do when you're setting up the wallet, you need to bridge assets from other networks to StarkNet to be able to interact with the ecosystem. You can use official bridge called Stargate, and you can bridge from Ethereum mainnet to StarkNet through this bridge. But also you can use other bridges if you're storing your liquidity in other chains, for example, layer 2 chains for Ethereum, able to bridge assets from there to StarkNet through RhinoFi and Orbiter Finance, some other bridges. Then when you have your liquidity there, you can start exploring the ecosystem and plenty of different dApps that you can use. Starting with decentralized finance, you can go and swap tokens into some stable coins or other liquid tokens that you can find, and you can do it in different decentralized exchanges. As well, you will be able to provide liquidity to farm yield on top of it. Right now, the activity in StarkNet ecosystem is quite good for yield farmers. For example, if you have liquidity that you want to use, you can explore projects like Avnu, 10K Swap, and Jetty Swap for providing liquidity and having additional profit from doing it. But also there are different lending and borrowing protocols that will help you to do it. I haven't included the name here, but you can find them, and you will be able to provide liquidity for someone who wants to borrow from the protocol and gain yield on top of it. It's quite usual thing for many other ecosystem, layer 2 ecosystems. And for StarkNet, it's only growing. So you can expect that yield and percentages on top of your assets could be higher in StarkNet than in some other layer 2s that we have right now. And then the fourth type of interaction that you need to consider as well is having a digital identity, right? You can go and mint an NFT domain, and you will have a StarkNet identity using decentralized applications like StarkNet ID, Dmail, and zkNAM service. And the last one, for me, it's quite important because I'm into NFTs and having some collectibles in my wallet. So I enjoy to surf through Element Market and Flex NFT to be able to find some digital collections that I want to buy for myself, store in the wallet, and potentially sell them in the future. Right now, I cannot say that the NFT market on StarkNet is very active, but you will be able to find some good collections on the platforms that I've provided you here and explore them, potentially buy something that you like. Yeah, let's move on to the next slide. Then I wanted to talk about total value locked. As you or part of you already know how it's structured, is actually the liquidity that is locked across different protocols in the network, including decentralized exchanges, lending platforms, and liquidity providing, and also stablecoin issuers. And it calculates how many assets in the form of dollar value is actually locked on the network. So we see that for StarkNet, the TVL, according to DeFi Llama data, is standing at almost $33 million. In comparison to some other networks, some optimistic rollups like Arbitrum, Optimism, or competitors from Zero Knowledge rollups like zkSync, the TVL of StarkNet is quite low, and it's not growing very fast. And on the second slide, on the next slide, I can show you the difference between total value locked and how much value was actually breached to the network, and how much gunpowder is actually storing on the wallets of users, and it is ready to be deployed when some protocols will be launched and when some favorable conditions for liquidity holders will appear there. So breached value is actually representing all liquidity that was deposited to the network, not only storing on different protocols, but also storing in wallets of StarkNet users. So what we can see that in total, more than 800,000 ETH tokens were deposited to the network. And if we can take a price of Ethereum of $10, we can see that it's a big amount of assets that were deposited, and only small percentage of it is actually locked in protocols that we reviewed with you recently. We can see that more than 1 million people breached to the StarkNet through the official breach, through Stargate, and some increased activities with breaching were tied to August, September this year, mainly when gas fees were very low. So we were able to spend a fraction of money that you need to pay right now to breach to StarkNet, and a lot of enthusiasts, testers, and adopters of the network were depositing through from layer 1, from Ethereum mainnet to StarkNet, were quite good and reasonable. What we might see in the future is actually more and more people using not only official breach, but exchanges or non-official breaches to bring value to StarkNet, to bring liquidity to StarkNet, and start deploying it, because we have very huge gap between the money that was deposited directly to the network and money that is stored in different protocols. And I'm very looking forward to see how total value locked on StarkNet will be growing with some new protocols launching on the network soon. Moving to the next slide, I wanted to take an overview of users' activity with you today. So this data is taken from StarkScan, which is the official blockchain explorer for StarkNet. And you can see that in total, from the launch of mainnet, we had 79 million interactions or transactions on the network, and more than 400,000 blocks were created. But what is more interesting, we can take a look at distribution of accounts that were created on the network since the inception. And you can see that 3.4 million of accounts were created. 10% of them are actually out of date. And I know that Gonzalo from AI Network will be covering the roadmap today, and you guys will understand why part of the accounts are out of date due to updates that we had in the past. But still, we have more than 3 million active accounts that are storing maybe a small part of liquidity, maybe a big part of liquidity in their wallets. They are ready to deploy it to different protocols. And the last chart that we have here is called active accounts. And we can see on average how many active accounts we had each day on average for the last 3 months. You can see that it is slightly higher than 100K. And in comparison to other layer 2s, StarkNet is actually losing in terms of number of transactions, because for Arbitrum, the number of transactions and number of active accounts is standing at 500K plus per day on average. And for Optimism and zkSync, it's between 400K and 200K. What we need to see here to see bigger growth of the network is actually more and more people coming to StarkNet. And what will help it to happen is actually milestones that we have on the roadmap for the StarkNet that will be launched very soon. We already know the dates and the plans by the team of developers, and would be great while Gonzalo will cover this topic today. It's all from my side. It was my pleasure to share this insight with you today. Yeah, guys, if you have any questions,
pleasure.
yeah. Go ahead, Ivan.
Sure. Guys, feel free to leave your questions in the chat, and we will ask them our separate section dedicated to the questions. I just wanted to give a quick question to our testing StarkNet in July this year, and the commissions and the speed were much better than now. So right now you can see that TPS transaction per second is 2.7 based on the data in the slide, and the average fee is 0.55. I remember we had better conditions after the update that has happened, I think, in the mid of summer. Why the commissions went up significantly and why the TPS went down? Maybe you know some information about this, Petro.
Do you hear me, guys? I can try to cover it. So about fees,
Yes,
it's actually tied to Ethereum mainnet fees and layer 1 fees, because when fees are growing on layer 1, you need to pay more fees on layer 2 to actually send transaction back to layer 1 and have this security of layer 2 chain. So the fee that is actually grew from July, and even mentioned it, I remember we were paying from 20 cents to 30 cents per transaction, and right now it's up almost 2 times. So it depends on the network state of the network that we have with Ethereum. And I do have a browser extension right now, and I see that we have a 38 GUI on Ethereum, meaning that it's roughly 4 times higher than we had in the end of summer and beginning September. So fees on overall grew on layer 1. That's why we see more fees on layer 2 as well. And for TPS, I know that there were some issues with StarkNet like network, and it was quite slow, and part of transactions were failing. And what we know that StarkNet team right now is working on the update on increasing the stability of the network. So it's the short-term main goal for them to increase the TPS and increase the percentage of successful transactions, so it won't be failing anymore.
Hey guys, just checking if you can hear me.
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, first of all,
thank
you.
To the community. No worries, no time to hurry up. So, guys, we have a guest today. His name is Gonzalo Afonso, and he will tell us more about the scalability roadmap of StarkNet. So I'm looking forward to know more the technical part as well. Gonzalo, the stage is yours.
Thank you very much for the invitation, first of all. This is my first Metaverse panel, so apologies if anything goes wrong. As basically Ivan was introducing, I will do a quick overview over the StarkNet scalability roadmap, and we will try to dive a little deeper into the topics along the way. So as Petro was saying earlier, the reason why we have around 10% of unavailable wallets, I believe that was the next question, was because earlier this year, more specifically on the first quarter, basically StarkNet shifted from the Cairo 0 to Cairo 1.0 network. This basically presented an evolution of the Rust protocol, trying to enhance the protocol a little further and trying to convey a better experience for the users. The end goal of this was to improve the final output of StarkNet and to basically be able to convey lower fees. Ivan, can you move the slide, please? So basically, in terms of network updates and the roadmap and milestones, Currently, the StarkNet is focusing on network scalability improvements and on the V3 of transactions. The reason why this happens because as Petro and even we're noticing, transactions are following the cost of Ethereum transaction costs. So right now, around 95%, according to StarkNet data, of the transaction costs come from the Ethereum blockchain itself, and only 5% come from the developments and from the validation within StarkNet. So it's important to basically enhance the stability improvements on the overall stability with a series of enhancements on the infrastructures. Regarding the V3 of transactions, basically this will allow to pay the transaction fees in Stark, which currently is not possible. It's paid on Ethereum. These are the two updates being done at the moment. The next two updates that will come into play will be the fee market for transactions, and this happens to basically introduce the faster finality transactions, which will mean that the user will be able to pay a higher fee if he wants to basically front run the market and to be able to have his transactions or his actions onto the blockchain basically go faster. And finally, the lower layer 1 fees with the AIP 4844, which is basically the reduction of Ethereum data accounts on costs on StarkNet. Currently, this is the work in progress, reducing transaction costs via volition mode. This is a mode that will allow the StarkNet network to move faster and seamlessly. And yeah, it's basically facing the largest issue right now currently on the network, which is the high costs per transaction, which are around 55 cents. If we could move the slide. Finally, in terms of network stats, right now, what the foundation is looking in terms of performance metrics is the throughput and latency of each transaction. So basically, it's important to have a fast finality blockchain, and this is one of the end goals of StarkNet. So it's important to further basically develop the system, the Cairo system, to be able to process faster transactions. And once again, the transactions costs, which are basically one of the very largest issues right now on the network, will be also reduced. In terms of faster finality outputs, StarkNet is currently working on the fee market, which will enable users to pay extra fees to speed up transactions and to create shorter and fixed blocks of intervals. With this, basically what will happen is that StarkNet will communicate more often to Ethereum, but the information will be smaller and therefore more comprised and easier to process. And that's it from my side. Petro, I know you are more technical than I do, if you want to complement with anything.
Yeah, actually, I wanted to ask you about the milestones on the roadmap and like when they should be achieved, right? I remember you were talking about V3 transactions, volition mode. Do you have ability to find the timing of these updates and when they are actually planned to happen?
So basically, let me find you the correct data on that. So there are a few milestones in terms of queues. So the version 0.12 of the StarkNet Cairo protocol, which basically improved the throughput and latency, was already introduced on Q2. Finalizing now the Q3 was the volition roadmap implementation with the version 0.13, and for the Q4 is basically the fee market. So this is positioning in terms of focus per quarter. Finally, this last piece that I was telling you about the shorter and fixed blocks intervals is scheduled to go live also on this Q4.
Yeah, that's really impressive. They have like a lot of stuff planned to happen in the near future. And also, if you will take a look more deeper into this roadmap and check more about V3 transactions, which are transactions that require StarkNet token. We can expect that the token should be launched somewhere near in the Q1 next year. And I remember even was talking about it today, and I myself, when doing a week ago, I found the information on the official smart contract of the token on Ethereum, because it was launched there. So you can find information about the time when the tokens will be unlocked. So if you will take a deep look into the contract, you will be able to find a variable that is called global unlock time. And it shows that the tokens will be unlocked on April 15th next year. So we can think about it and actually understand that potentially the token will be launched before the April 15th, and we will have updates that are planned for Q1 with the launch of V3 transactions and the ability to pay for market fees in StarkNet token. It will be something new for layer 2s, and it could greatly boost the scalability of the network, and I'm very looking forward to it.
Just let me add up here, Pudito, in terms of deployment of the token is already deployed on Ethereum. It's still locked, and it will be only unlocked one day.
Yep, that's the case. Yes, Ivan, would you like to proceed here?
Sure. I just have some issues, as always, with the metaverse. Thank you for your presentation, Gonzalo. It was very interesting, and thank you for providing the technical details that are quite important. I'm looking forward to discuss with you 3 questions today that we prepared. The first one, I would like to ask Petro if you can provide more insights on EVM incompatibility as an advantage or disadvantage for StarkNet ecosystem. Can you please help
Yeah,
here?
sure. Yeah, sure. I can try. I can divide it into 2 parts. Right, the first one from the user experience. Obviously, EVM incompatibility is not a good thing, because you can imagine that you, as a user who get used to MetaMask, Ethereum, and some other EVM-compatible chains, it's hard for you to install a new wallet and actually start from the very beginning, starting to get used to how the wallet is working. So for the adoption at short term, it's disadvantage. But in the long term, why actually StarkWare team behind the StarkNet decided to make it non-EVM compatible? Because they are looking into scaling. And if you're building on another language that Slava covered today, the Cairo one, and if you're working with Stark's proof, which no one beside you is focusing on it, you are definitely working on a long-term vision. And it allows StarkNet to be much more scalable, combining all the technologies that they are using through the Cairo and Starks. So in the short term, it can be a disadvantage, but in the long term, I'm very looking forward that StarkNet will achieve much more bigger transactions per second metrics, and the throughput for the network will be much higher than for EVM compatible layer 2 chains. That's why I can see that for me personally, being non-EVM compatible for StarkNet is more an advantage than disadvantage.
Diving on a short term. Sorry, may I proceed?
Would you like to add something?
Yeah, basically, I was complimenting Petro take on it, because if you're looking on a short-term perspective, the fact they are building on Rust basically limits all the accessibility to the Ethereum developers. It won't be that easy for Ethereum developer to just deploy their smart contracts into the Cairo, as Petro was saying, because it requires a transition from Solidity to Rust, which is the main layer behind Cairo. Furthermore, what is really important is that Rust is a way more scalable and as a computational efficiency is way better than Solidity, which will allow to develop further more complex smart contracts without basically leveraging or without scaling up the cost of transactions, which is what we are currently seeing on Ethereum and is impacting on StarkNet.
Yeah, that's actually a very good point, Gonzalo. I remember hearing the interview from StarkWare team, someone from there, a B staff or someone, and he was mentioning that right now the biggest hurdle for StarkNet is lack of skilled developers who are working with Rust and are like ready to work with Stark proofs. So for them right now the main focus will be to actually find or teach new developers who will be ready to support in the development, and it's stopping them from moving such fast as some optimistic rollups are moving, or even ZK rollups built on Snark proofs moving way faster than StarkNet. StarkNet is focusing on long-term vision here.
Yeah, 100%. Like this is a trade-off between fast moving or optimization for longer term, and they're betting on the longer term.
Thank you, guys. Very interesting question. How will the StarkNet token influence the decentralization on the network? Gonzalo, would you like to share your thoughts on that?
Yeah, man, we can't hear you, Gonzalo. Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah, it happens. Petro, maybe you would like to step in here.
Yeah, sure. The very helpful slide to answer this question is actually the slide that you showed today in the presentation, Ivan, with utilities of StarkNet token. And you remember there were 3 utilities with governance, paying for fees, and staking. So the governance is actually the main utility, in my opinion, and it's very useful for all layer 2 chains that you can imagine, because you are starting with a single centralized entity, and the developers, the team is having the control over the activities that are happening on the network. And guys, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that it's okay to start with centralization, because you need to focus on building fast, and that's why you need to have proof of authority at the very beginning. But then when you are thinking to scale, it becomes more risky to store, I believe, all eggs in the one basket, right? You need to think about decentralization and distributing the control over the network between different parties. And Stark token actually works very well with this goal, because they will be introducing, they already introduced governance, and they already using the StarkNet token to participate in it. But right now it's highly centralized, because StarkNet token is distributed between StarkWare team and investors who participated in the rounds, in the previous rounds. So what should be done next is actually the public launch of the token. So it will be publicly available to people who want to buy it from the network, or it will be rewarded to users who participated in some network activities. And then there will be much more people who will be able to influence the future decisions of the team. It works very well with Arbitrum. They have all their own governance with the token that was launched recently, and the community is actually taking part in defining the future for the network. And the second step that also will use StarkNet token to boost the decentralization is actually staking of the Stark token, because people will be able to stake it and operate the validating activities on the network. And as we know, it works very well with, maybe not very well, but it works with Ethereum, where people are staking it. And with this proof of stake network, it seems a bit decentralized. And I think these two directions will help StarkNet network to decentralize using the StarkNet token.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we do.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so apologies for earlier.
Would you like
to
step in?
Yeah, I think Petro stole a little bit of my argument, but I wanted to dive into another section, which is basically the trust that the token will also bring to the network. So, of course, with the dispersion of the token, besides the foundation and the early investors, it will create another network of validators, decentralized validators, which will further increase the decentralization of the Stark network. However, the actual fact that the token is also held on parts of central entities, so the foundation holds a large part of the token, also helps to secure the network on a more decentralized way. And this may sound antagonical, but it's not, and I can explain why. The reason why Ethereum right now is basically has the largest trust marketplace in terms of altcoins and in terms of crypto, except maybe Bitcoin, of course. It's because the token price of Ethereum makes almost impossible to basically corrupt the network. The costs that it would require for someone in order to violate the network would be huge. Of course, with the decentralization of the token and the staking of it, as Petro was mentioning, will also further boost the network decentralization and security. And this is something that will be very important in terms of long-term and sustainability of the protocol. And I rest my case.
Yeah, that's a very good point, Gonzalo. On that. I don't know if you saw it, but we have a question in chat from Sanjit about Kakarot. If you want, I can take it. So is Kakarot EVM implementation of StarkNet part of StarkWare Industries? So actually, Kakarot is very great project in my opinion. So it will allow to connect StarkNet with EVM chains. They are working on actually something like a bridge or layer on top of StarkNet that will help you to connect with different chains on EVM. Something similar was created to Polkadot to have a connection to EVM chains, and right now the Kakarot is working on that. And I remember it is supported by Vitalik Buterin as well. I guess he invested in one of the rounds of Kakarot to support their growth, and it can solve the short-term problems that might come with the StarkNet, short-term problems with adoption, where people won't be ready to install new wallets and adopt and interact with StarkNet. So Kakarot may be a solution for such type of users, so they will be able to try StarkNet without actually moving out from their favorite wallets. And then after they will have initial understanding of how everything is worked, it can be a first step to move from having wallet on EVM to having wallet on EVM and additional wallet on StarkNet as well. So I believe Kakarot is doing a great job to bring initial liquidity and adoption to the StarkNet network in short-term case.
Thank you, Petro. Thank you, Gonzalo, for your insights. It's extremely valuable to hear this from you. And also thank you everyone for joining today. We are coming to the end of today's meeting. Feel free to join our social medias by scanning the QR code here in the screen. Looking forward to organize more events for you, and let's be in touch. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah, thank you everyone for joining. It's a pleasure to you today. Thank you guys. Bye.